From New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, it's night number 8 of 9 for the 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Along with Jacqueline Drake and Charles Kroll, I'm Adam Mackey, bringing you all of tonight's action on Flow Racing. This place is packed once again. It's for the Tour Type Modified Richie Evans Memorial 100, the highlight of tonight's event. But don't forget about the Heart to Heart 100 for the Pro Late Models. Those two events are big, and they're on tonight's schedule. In addition to 4 other feature events, it's going to be action-packed tonight from New Smyrna.
Great crowd on hand, a lot of cars on hand tonight. We've got 2 100 lap features, including the Pro Late Models, as you said, the Tour Type Late Models, and a slew of other racing action going on tonight. Some divisions we haven't seen here throughout the week, Adam. Should be a lot of fun, and we're really excited to bring every lap of action for you here live on Flow tonight.
Another big field of cars. The Tour Type Modifieds are lined up along the inside wall there. They will be the second race on our schedule. The first is the Heart to Heart 100 for the Pro Late Models. Then we will have the trucks after those first 2 100s, the Super Stocks, the Bomber Bs, and the Vintage cars. Those 4 divisions we haven't seen in action here this week.
Long week for the Pro Late Model division here at New Smyrna Speedway. We've seen some interesting racing, some exciting racing, some new winners. That guy right there, Connor Jones, has picked up a couple of feature wins along the way and kind of avenging himself after 2 runner-up finishes in the championship standings. It looks like he's going to be crowned the champ. I mean, stranger things have happened, but, if he has a solid night tonight, he should be crowned the Pro Late Model champion here this evening after a very solid performance here this week. But, this group has had a couple of races that were really good and clean, including last night's, which I believe ran 35 laps to the checkered without incident. But then there have been a couple of nights this week where it has just been a demolition derby. There's a good look at Hunter Wright, young man that races regularly, I should say, up at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. A lot of laps on these big, fast half miles. He should be a contender here tonight. He's going to start up near the front.
Jacqueline Drake, another member of our Flow Racing broadcast team, standing down there by the 44 car of Connor Jones. He's on the pole of tonight's race, Jacqueline.
Yeah, he is. Jones is feeling exceptionally fast for this final night in the Pro Late Model division. Had a couple words with him right before he strapped into that Pepperjack Kennels car, and he said we had to change the brake package on that 44 after practice as it was going out there. So there's a new brake package on the 44, but he says, I'm in it to win it, both the feature event and the championship.
He's had a good, consistent week, putting himself up among the point leaders in both divisions, the Super Late Models and the Pro Late Models. But these pros, with his consistency this week, it's kind of tough to beat a driver in the standings when he has finishes at first, third, fourth.
That is quite the impressive run over the course of the last 5 nights of racing for this division. And, all things considered, there are some other drivers who have had great weeks too. We've had a great run by Katie Hettinger this week. She's had some rotten luck, but she picked up her first career win. And there's a good look at Katie right there. Picked up her first win last night. Has a lot of momentum. Maybe she can carry that into a Heart-to-Heart 100 win here this evening.
Yeah, Katie Hettinger, driver of the number 81 car. See the
our buddy
fast,
Bruce.
Bruce Noodleman down there getting some in-car cameras set up. As we send it down to Jacqueline with a word on Katie coming off her first feature win at the World Series.
Yeah, Katie Hettinger last night making history here. The first woman to win in a pro division at New Smyrna Speedway, as well as capturing her first World Series of Asphalt win. ACR team all hands on deck last night, just putting in the final perfect touches on both her car and Casey Roderick's, her teammate, who we will see compete tomorrow night. So 81 feeling confident going into this 100-lapper.
I would say she should be confident. She's been strong here this week. No question, one of the fastest race cars night after night. The Heart to Heart 100 for the Pro Late Models. It's coming up after this on Flow Racing.
At this time, I would like to introduce you to Evelyn Burrows. Ms. Burrows.
Back at New Smyrna Speedway for the 8th night of our 2023 57th running, the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Drivers getting lined up, ready to go for this Pro Late Model Heart to Heart 100. The Heart to Heart Foundation currently handing out some checks to those in need for health issues that they've had recently, and that's taking place down in the Victory Lane area. A great foundation that is supported by the Hart family, started by the Hart family here at New Smyrna Speedway. Jacqueline Drake, she's been busy down there getting plenty of stories for us and plenty of tidbits before we go into this 100-lap race. Jacqueline?
Oh, yeah, guys, you know, there's plenty of storylines down here in this Pro Late Model Division. One driver in particular, the 25 right here, of Carson Brown in that Rackley Racing blue and white car. He podiumed last night, but not without a battle there with Hettinger in the final laps, leading for some time. Spoke to him. The 100-lap event that he's about to enter into here, it's going to be the longest Pro Late Model feature event he has ever driven. He feels pretty good about tire management here. He qualified on the pole earlier this evening, but with the invert, he will start P5.
So P5 for Carson Brown tonight, where he will start, as the invert tonight for this Pro Late Model feature event was a 5, and Connor Jones, he was luck of the draw. He starts on the pole tonight. Hunter Wright's going to start alongside, and those are the top two in our point standings. Now the gap between the two is actually pretty sizable at 28 points, a difference of 14 positions. So Hunter Wright's going to have to finish at least 14 positions ahead of Connor Jones to try to take that point championship. So Connor Jones finishes this race, there's a pretty good chance he's going to clinch the championship.
And I don't think we've seen Hunter Wright finish ahead of Connor all week long. I mean, check me if I'm wrong on that one. I just don't recall that that's happened. So he's really got his work cut out for us. I mean, of course, anything can happen. It's a 100-lap race. This division has been there's been some very aggressive racing throughout the course of this week, so that could, catch somebody out here. But Connor has been really smooth. He's kept himself out of trouble. I think he's going to have a really good night here. And, as we joked last night with Matt Hirschman starting on the pole, Connor just needed some good luck tonight. He's had such rotten luck all week. But I think he's going to have a good, solid night. But we're going to keep an eye on that 25 car. Carson Brown has had some really, really impressive performances, and he's got plenty of time to get up there. So we'll see what he's able to do if he can work his way back up towards the front after drawing a 5 for the invert.
Tour Type Modified Richie Evans Memorial 100 will be the second event on our program. The Pro Lates that get us started. 28 drivers on our scheduled lineup. Connor Jones, as we take a look at it right now, on the pole as fifth fast qualifier. Mentioned his finishes, no worse than fourth this week. 2 wins, leads the standings by 28 points over Hunter Wright. Hunter Wright starting on the outside of row number 1, his best starting position this week. The driver from Lebanon, Tennessee, 22 years of age, looking for his first World Series win. He did finish second in the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Pro Late Model standings last year. You look at Hunter Wright's finishes this week, they've been very consistent. Everything 7th or better, but he just hasn't been able to crack into the podium. Tonight could be the night. Used to running 100-lap features there at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Could be a benefit for Hunter Wright. Ryan Luza has been fast and maybe consistently the fastest car this week. The 77 of Luza starting third. Was third quick in qualifying for the 26-year-old driver, former Five Flag Speedway Pro Late Model champion. Luza's last 3 finishes are second, first, and second, and I think a 100-lap race tonight benefits that Jet Motorsports number 77. Starting fourth, Katie Hettinger in the 81, coming off her first victory. It's the first female to win in the Pro Late Model division in World Series history. And she's the first Michigan driver to win in a Pro Late race during the World Series as well. Just 15 years of age. She has a second-place finish this week, a third-place finish this week, and then the win last night. Katie Hettinger, that car's been extremely fast. Watch the black and red number 81. She tries to win the big 100 tonight.
Our quick qualifier, Carson Brown, will go from 5th in the number 25 alongside Dakota Stroop. Dakota's had a tough week, but that car looked really fast in qualifying. Best starting position he's had all week long in the number 47S. That is a backup car after a crash last weekend. Brett Cruz also in a backup car for the bulk of the week. He will go from the 7th position in the number 24, the Donnie Wilson Motorsports prepared car. And TJ DeCare, another one of the familiar names to Florida race fans. He will fire off from the 8th position in car number 88.
Looking at the 9th place starter, it's the 26 of Dawson Sutton. Comes from the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway area. Sutton from Lebanon, Tennessee. Has gotten better as the week has gone on, garnering experience here at New Smyrna Speedway. Has finished 9th and 6th, his best 2 finishes of the week in the last 2 races. Gavin Bichelle will start in the 10th position. The number 5 car, a teenage driver from Mooresville, North Carolina, finished 13th last night. Starting in the next position, the 00 of Jeremy Wharf. Jeremy Wharf from Bath, Maine, a 38-year-old driver, a former Oxford 250 winner, has back-to-back top 10 finishes. And TJ Monroe will start 12th in car number 16. He's from Star, Idaho.
Jimmy Renfrew Jr. and another number 00. This with the 00R fires off from the 13th position alongside Gus Dean in the number 56. Gus was over at Daytona International Speedway today, qualifying for tomorrow's ARCA Menard Series Daytona ARCA 200. He will fire off from the 14th position. Isabella Robusto slides in behind the wheel of the number 1 this weekend, replacing Tony Breidinger. Isabella will go off from the 15th position. And Eddie McDonald, longtime veteran of late model racing from up in the Northeast. He's going to start 16th tonight in car number 17.
77 cars starting in the 17th position is Ruben Caceres. Caceres out of Daytona Beach, Florida, 21 years of age, actually 20 years of age for the driver of the 77. Then it's Ryan Camish in the 42. Coming from the upper Midwest is Camish from Farmington, Minnesota. Next position is Johnny Armandia in car number 58, starting in 19th. And Corey Luciano in car number 94 starts 20th.
David Weaver fires off 21st alongside Thomas Crusonis in the number 15K. Mike Mayberry, owner of Oxford Plains Speedway up in Maine, he will start 23rd tonight. And our 24th starter, Kevin Folan, in the 17F.
Final 4 starters in our scheduled lineup. The 17 of Brandon Turbush starting 25th. Mike Amato in car number 2X starting 26th. John White's in the 99 starting 27th. And Cody Stickler driving the 15S, one of the modified stars from the Florida Modifieds this week, starting in the 28th position. That's the scheduled starting lineup to bring them to the front stretch, to give them the starting command as they line up along our front straightaway for this heart-to-heart 100 for the Pro Late Model Division at New Smyrna Speedway. Another beautiful day here in East Central Florida as we enjoyed the warm weather, the hottest day we've had since we've been here, about mid-80s today.
I think I got a little sunburn today. That's how beautiful a day it was. I think I saw temperatures approaching 88 degrees when I was down at Daytona International earlier this afternoon. A very warm day has turned into a beautiful night here, and we see a great crowd on hand. Nice breeze blowing across the grandstands there, keeping the fans comfortable as we get ready to go racing here. And 2 big 100-lap features on tap to kick off the night as we line up our Pro Late Model Division.
Oh, this is fantastic. Somebody just sent me an edit of the wall up in turns 3 and 4. If you saw the Flow Racing special that Matt Dillner put together earlier today from yesterday, the pronunciation of New Smyrna Beach or New Smyrna Beach or New Smyrna.
I'm a New Smyrna guy. You are
New Smyrna. Just it's
Smyrna.
very faintly. Okay, but look at what's been created here.
I like that.
It's got a little tiny A in there, just a little one.
Just a little, and that's how you say it. You just have that little A in there.
That's right. As we get ready to go, 100 laps of action tonight. That's very well done.
MD down there stirring the pot ever so slightly.
Absolutely. He hasn't shown up yet today.
He's here.
Not made his way to the tower quite yet. There it is.
There we go.
There it is, just like that.
That's the Adam Mackey spelling right there.
It's most people's spelling. Let's be real. Hey, Andrew Hart just came over and he said S-A-M-Y-R-N-A is the local way.
That's
Smyrna.
the local way. So this is like a Louisville thing, right?
Yeah. Andrew Hart has officially told me, and if Andrew says that, I'm going with it. So
we're taking it to the bank.
I've been doing this for 13 years now, so I've said it more this week than anybody, I think, so I should be okay, right? I just was told yesterday I said it wrong the most.
This is true. I think you say it wrong. I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Now, see, you've been saying it wrong all week, Charlie.
I've been calling Ralph Miller Ralph Moore all week.
Only
so
for no, you haven't. Only the last 2 nights. He changed his name
Who am I
midweek.
to judge?
It's good stuff. The piece that Matthew Dillner put together was excellent. Actually, good
I do.
stuff.
I got to give MD a shout out because he does. He looks for those fun stories. And there's a lot of great content as we fire engines down front on the main straightaway.
Ish.
He does. He comes up with a lot of great content that we see on Flow Racing throughout the week, and I love that rumble. It's time to go racing. Let's do it.
I feel such vindication right now. Like my week, I'm done. I'm
you took
I'm
some
good
money
to go.
off Ben Dodge yesterday, and now you got this.
Playing some
all
money
right.
off of Ben Dodge yesterday. Nice little friendly wager. No, we don't bet on things.
We
Just kidding.
don't. Yeah,
That doesn't happen.
doesn't happen.
As we have fired the engines, field of pro late models for the Heart to Heart 100, getting ready to go tonight to get us started for. It's going to be an action-packed night and potentially morning here
Let's not
at the World Series.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
I've been accused all week of another thing too, Charlie, of saying we're going to get out of here at this time, and it's usually a half hour, 45 minutes later. Tonight, I'm going to say it could be morning.
All right, let's do that, and hopefully it's the opposite, like it's been every other night this week for you.
Denise is giving me the evil eye down here.
Yeah.
As you see the pro late models rolling away, Connor Jones in the 44 qualified 5th, which is perfect tonight. That invert. He's trying to push start the Luciano machine.
Good luck.
That's good work right there.
Yeah.
Butch Pierce getting the job done. Has been doing it a long time as an official right here at New Smyrna Speedway.
While Luciano is getting a push, you can see that little triangle on the fence there. That's a nice little addition for our choose coming up later on.
Yeah.
It had some issues earlier in the week, so the new Smyrna Speedway track.
You don't enunciate it that much, though. That's the thing.
I want to make sure that I got it right.
Smyrna.
I want to make sure I got it right there. So the new
Right.
Smyrna track officials decided to help make it a little easier to put a little sign on the wall there.
Hunter Wright. Perfect night for him to step up and qualify into the invert, being the 100-lap race. And we talk about his experience in 100 lappers. He's been in victory lane at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway in what is one of the toughest pro late model classes in the country. Week after week, putting fields of 30 or so cars on the racetrack for their 100-lap races. And he finished second in the standings there, was battling for the point championship all the way down the stretch with Dylan Feccio, who ended up claiming the championship. So these 100-lap races should benefit a guy like that. Ryan Luza, great experience in pro late model racing over the last several years. He's definitely familiar with long distance affairs. We'll be starting this race in the inside of row number 2. And then Katie Hettinger, who has definitely impressed this week.
Of course, Katie comes into this week as the all-time winningest female driver in the long history down at Hickory Motor Speedway. Hopped in behind the wheel of the number 81 car for Anthony Campy Racing, one of the leading organizations in not just pro late model racing, but super late model racing as well. She has done phenomenal. She had some rotten luck earlier in the week, got caught up in a couple of incidents, not really of her doing. But when she has been able to get that car to the finish, she has been extremely competitive. As past race cars used some physicality when she needed to. She's not afraid to throw a fender. She's not afraid to use the bumper to get up there and get by somebody if she needs to. And she's had a good week, good results, as you said. Finishes a first, second, and third here the last 3 nights. So look for Katie Hettinger to be strong, and Carson Brown, you cannot look past him at all.
Other young lady making her first start of the World Series, driving the number 1 car tonight, Jacqueline.
She might be making her first start, Adam, but she is no newbie to tough racetracks. Recently competing at South Carolina 400 at Florence Motor Speedway, which if you're a late model fan, you know how much that facility is all about tire management. Going into tonight's race, the 100-lapper, the Leapwalk Racing teammate to Tony Breidinger, now jumping behind that number 1, Isabella Robusta. She is one to understand exactly how to save all the way to the end. 2 wins last year in her season. She's going to be going full-time in Cars Tour upcoming in the Touring 12. We'll see how she approaches this 100-lapper.
Yeah, her first start of the week in the big 100-lap race. She was 6th quick in practice today. That final round of practice didn't quite match that in qualifying. Still was 15th out of the 28 on our starting lineup, so not a bad effort despite the lack of laps turned on this track this week.
And I know there are a lot of people in the upper levels of the stock car racing world that have their eye on Isabella Robusto. She has got a lot of talent and a big future ahead of her, so we're going to keep an eye on the number 1 car as she rolls from out of the middle of the field here tonight in that number 1 car that Tony Breidinger has piloted most of the week to this point.
The Wave Lab here at New Smyrna Speedway as the fans are on their feet, waving off a solid field of cars. Another good crowd this week. This place has been packed with race cars and fans all week long. Got that bad weather out of the way last Friday and Saturday. Despite the bad weather Saturday, this place was absolutely filled from row 1 to the top of the grandstands. And now we get ready for a big Friday night of action. 2 special events, one for the Pro Lates, and then up next, the Tour Type Modified 100, the Richie Evans Memorial. To the pits comes the New Smyrna Speedway pace car. Connor Jones in the 44, Hunter Wright in the 29, Ryan Luza, Katie Hettinger in the 25 of Carson Brown to the green, turn 4. This heart-to-heart 100 is underway.
Little contact between the front row starters down into one. A lot of contact between Connor Jones and Hunter Wright. We have seen these two swap paint lots of times here over the last couple of years, and they're going to swap more into turn 3. Jones gets into Hunter Wright. Wright with a great save, but here comes Ryan Luza to the inside in the 77.
Maybe a tad bit early to get this crazy racing for the lead in a 100-lap event as Luza takes advantage, moves up into the 2nd spot. The contact that was ensuing between the 44 of Jones and the 29 of Wright. We did somehow get the first lap in. We look back to the 4th position that's up for grabs. Carson Brown on the inside of Katie Hettinger. They had a little issue with each other last night racing for the lead.
Yeah, they've had a couple of run-ins with each other over the course of the last few nights, and now Carson Brown works his way past Katie Hettinger, and now Brent Cruz looking to the inside of Hettinger as well. That's the battle for 5th.
Still giving the 81 car a little bit of room to the high side as Cruz until he gets to the corner, closes the door. Hettinger drops back outside of the top 5 into the 6th spot. Here's the battle for the lead. Lose it to the inside. Wright lets him go. Closes back to the rear bumper. Peeks to the low lane. Coming off of 4. New leader. Completion of lap number 4. Ryan Luza in the 77.
Adam, we've been talking all night long before we even came on air, and you have said, I am going to pick Ryan Luza tonight. That car has been solid. He's got a lot of great experience, and, of course, he's got a great team behind him as well. And he has wasted no time working his way to the front. Ryan Luza blasting his way past Hunter right there. And here comes Brent Cruz to the inside of Carson Brown in a battle for 4th.
Cruz looking to the inside and the outside lane. It is the 25 of Carson Brown. 4th position, the battle right now. Cruz will take the spot at the line. Carson Brown started this race in 5th. He now has lined up back in that 5th position. There's the 81 of Katie Hettinger in line.
Kind of calming down a little bit here at the front of the field. Still a very long way to go. We saw some very intense action. Now Dakota Stroop looking to the inside of Katie Hettinger. Saw a lot of intense action there those first 5 or 6 laps, but still 93 laps to go, a long way. So it's best to just kind of fall in line, get some laps behind us, save those tires, save your race car, make sure you're around at the end.
There you see single file throughout the field, drivers settling in despite that first lap that was absolutely crazy between Hunter Wright and Connor Jones, nearly crashing on the first lap of the scheduled 100. And they've settled down. Ryan Luza taking advantage and going out front. Does Ryan Luza now pace himself a little bit? Keep his eye on the rearview mirror. The spotter may be keeping him updated, saying, hey, Hunter Wright is right now half a second back. That's a good place to be. Just keep that half-second advantage.
You don't need to drive off to a 5 or 6 or 8 second lead at this point and worry about burning those tires off of that race car. Just get out in front, maintain a comfortable advantage, keep the car underneath you, and conserve. You still have 90 laps to go as we see the 2 drivers that did knock fenders and swap paint there on that first lap. Connor Jones starting to close the gap now on Hunter Wright, the battle for 2nd.
Ryan Luza up 0.7 of a second. The lead has continued to grow a little bit. Connor Jones using an extremely high lane down in turns 1 and 2 that time. Didn't lose any ground. Tries to close the gap again on the 29 of Hunter Wright. You see first, second, third, and fourth. 24 Brent Cruz settling in as well. First 11 laps make it 12 now, going smoothly in this heart-to-heart Foundation 100 for the Pro Lates. Pair of double zeros battling it out. It's Renfrew and Wharf side by side, 9th and 10th, as the double zeros have found each other on the racetrack.
Oh, my grandparents would love that. They were hand scorers back in the day. They hated the double numbers. Jimmy Renfrew going to get the best end of that deal. He's in the black double zero. Jeremy Wharf in the white double zero, and they continue to go at it down the backstretch.
Really not even duplicate numbers, because 0 isn't a number, is it?
It's technically correct.
Okay. Maybe Matthew Dillner will do a report on that tomorrow.
Right.
Is 0 a number?
Well, the Romans didn't think 0 was a number, so maybe they might be onto something.
Renfrew and Wharf 9th and 10th as they've singled out now. Back behind them, TJ DeCare in the 88, another one of our young drivers, closing the door on veteran driver Gus Dean. I say veteran driver Gus Dean. He's 28 years of age. He's been driving in pro lates and super late models here as they beat and bang. TJ DeCare down into the corner. He's going to get shoved up into the third lane. He continues on. I
talked to Gus at length the other day, and he was pretty frustrated with some of the racing action here. And I don't think he's going to like being raced that way at all by TJ DeCare. He said there's been a lot of disrespect from some of these youngsters out there, and it's almost not fun, he said. But, boy, I don't think he was looking.
They were both using each other up.
They might have been, that's for sure.
I think he might have been going a little high, too.
Kevin Folan over there in the 17 car, I believe.
It's the other 17
That's the other
car.
one. Brandon Turbush getting turned sideways there. Both very similarly painted.
85 laps to go, 15 laps completed. Good green flag run to get us started. Have to be pretty happy with that for the Pro Lates. Ryan Luza leads the way. His lead the last time by was nearly 1 second at .880.
Not really overextending that race car. Just kind of getting out there and maybe putting a couple of car lengths each lap on Hunter Wright.
"15 laps completed. Ryan Luza, the leader. Luza this week, outstanding last 3 events, last 4 in the top 5, in fact, last 3 in the top 2, including a win. And so far, in good position. As fans continue to file in, keep watching those lower rows, continue to get more full and more full as they aim toward that Tour-type modified Richie Evans Memorial 100. I've just received word they have not presented the trophy to Matt Hirschman yet. They still have to do that race.
So they're going to make him run 100 laps.
They're going to make him run 100,
and,
yes.
And what's interesting about Hirschman tonight is he is in position to sweep all of the Tour-type modified features that are a part of the World Series. That has never happened in the 57 runnings of the World Series previously. When you consider some of the names that have won a lot of races here, I mean, we've seen Richie Evans win 6 out of 7. We've seen Reggie Ruggiero win 6 out of 7. You know, just a long list of names. To be someone, you know, to be in this era of competitiveness and have somebody in position to be able to walk away with every race that has been run, that is something I don't think we may ever see again.
Rolling under yellow, getting the field realigned after the spin deep in the field for Brandon Turbush and the 17. Turbush, a New York driver that has raced in all but one of the Pro Late events this week, a best finish of 17th that first night. And then they'll double up. And of course, the choose rule here when they go 2 to go, and at the arrow that's just past the finish line, they choose inside or outside. And I would assume at this point of the race, the 77 of Ryan Luza will take the outside. Hunter Wright will probably slide into the inside lane. Connor Jones then will have his decision, which I think would be outside lane.
One would think, and you know, we've seen, maybe not as often as we thought we would see. We've seen drivers choose the inside lane from time to time, but generally here, the outside lane is the preferred groove for these restarts. And last year, when we didn't have the choose, and you just lined up, basically in the traditional order, first was inside front row, second was outside front row.
And here it is.
Yeah,
It's
let's
choose
see.
time.
Oh,
And there
look
we
at that.
go. Just as we talked about it, he kind of faked that he was going to the outside. And I think that's a matter of Luza seeing how Connor Jones and Hunter Wright battled each other on the opening start. Here's my chance. I'm going to start on the pole. I get to set the pace. If I can clear him going into 1 and 2, I'm going to be fine. What he's worried about is being on the outside, not clearing the 29, and then he has to go up into the third lane and get shuffled back. So he's being conservative early, and he was able to make the pass on the inside convincingly on the 29. So his car can hook the bottom, so he's going to choose the inside lane. So we will get the 1 to go from Ralph Miller at the stripe this time. The leader, the 77, chooses inside of row 1, Ryan Luza. Hunter Wright outside. Row 2 of Connor Jones, who does still take the outside lane. And Brent Cruz. This might be an opportunity for Brent Cruz. So now, we usually call the money spot outside of row 2, but because Luza, the leader, takes the pole, it might not be as much the case this time. We'll see how it plays out. So the new Smyrna Speedway pace car will take the ride back to the pits. Katie Hettinger restarts in 5th. Dawson Brown restarts in 6th. Dakota Stroop 7th. And Dawson Sutton in 8th. Coming to green, turn number 4. Back underway, pretty even start, front of the field.
We saw Dakota Stroop spin the tires in the 47. He's going to give up some ground on the restart as they single out on the front row, but there's Connor Jones. He's got Brent Cruz to the inside. Cruz not wanting to give up any ground into 3.
And see, since the inside lane went with the leader being there, the 4th spot was not the money spot. It ended up being the 3rd position, Brent Cruz, holding on to 3rd. So Connor Jones will drop in line in 4th, and the 2 Rackley War cars 5th and 6th. They've had pretty good weeks. The 81 of Hettinger just outside of the top 5 there, running in 7th. TJ DeCare having right now his best run of the week in the 8th position, using the high lane. Dakota Stroop looking low.
I think TJ picked up several positions on the choose right there on that restart, playing it to his advantage as the field strings out single file now. Ryan Luza still up front. Hunter Wright, Brent Cruz, Connor Jones, Carson Brown, the top 5.
Good 15-lap green flag run at the start of this race. Now back up and rolling again, singling out back through the field. A lot of the drivers being patient, showing some patience here early in the race. That back pack is led by the 88 of TJ DeCare. Dakota Stroop right behind him. Now toward the front of the field again. This 100-lap race gets it started. First 2 races totaling 200 laps, and then we've got 4 short sprints to the checker. DeCare in the 88, running 8th. Dakota Stroop running 9th. 00 of Jimmy Renfrew running in the 10th spot.
There's Eddie McDonald in the red, number 17, right on Renfrew's back bumper through turns 1 and 2.
McDonald didn't get here until a couple nights ago, I think Wednesday. Last 2 races he's competed in, 5th and 8th. Pretty good job despite a short week for McDonald.
And he's the exception to the rule in this division. We see a lot of young kids, 14, 15, 16 years old. Eddie McDonald, a veteran competitor, as we see the battle now on for 3rd position. Connor Jones to the inside. He's going to take 3rd from Brent Cruz and set sail to try to catch Hunter Wright for 2nd.
First 22 laps in this race completed. Hettinger now looking like she's going to get racy. Maybe just settling in. We've seen her so far this week be pretty aggressive and fast early in the event. Tonight, laying back a little bit. Right now, Katie Hettinger, after the win last night, running in the 7th spot. Not only did she win last night, but her teammate, Casey Roderick, in a super late model, picked up a victory. Those 2 cars favorites here late in the going this week as Hettinger follows the 26 of Dawson Sutton.
Looks like that's the number 99 car of White down to the bottom side of the racetrack. It's Eddie McDonald starting to get racy in that 17. Looking to the inside of Renfrew.
It's going to get tight right here. They go 3 wide with White. And Bichelle gave Gus Dean just enough room to squeeze through as he picks up position. Gus Dean moves up into the 12th position, passing Gavin Bushell.
Of course, Gus, a pretty solid short track racer. Picked up a win up at Elko Speedway. Tight little bull ring in the ARCA Menard Series back 4 or 5 years ago.
First quarter of this race now completed, 26 laps in the books, and she's starting to turn up the wick a little bit. Katie Hettinger running in 7th has closed the gap on Dawson Sutton. Sutton, very little pro late model experience. He's trying to garner plenty of it here. Was at Speedfest and now racing all week long this week. And his best 2 finishes have been the last 2 nights with a 9th and a 6th. So the experience starting to pay off, getting faster each and every night. Running in 6th right now is Dawson Sutton and has the 81 of Katie Hettinger there to challenge.
We've seen several of these young drivers improve dramatically throughout the week in several different divisions. Luke Baldwin, one that comes to mind, 14-year-old who made his modified debut in the 602 mods early in the week. Took a while to let that car come to him. And by his 3rd night behind the wheel of the car, he ended up in victory lane. So we have seen drivers gain that experience and that confidence here throughout the course of the week as we see a lap car there kind of stacking this group up. And Katie Hettinger wanted to dip to the inside, but that 2X car there to kind of throw the pick. That's Mike Amato going a lap down as these drivers roll around the outside. Katie going to have to fall back in line. Mike Amato, of course, a regular super stock driver here at New Smyrna Speedway, jumping up to race with the pro late models here this week.
There's McDonald ready to challenge for the 10th position. Jimmy Renfrew Jr. in the 00 just ahead in 10th. McDonald didn't turn the qualifying effort he has the first 2 nights he's raced. He started way back in 16th, but he is on the way toward the front. Veteran driver in the 17 car. So far picking up some spots. We've seen a lot of this 88 car of TJ DeCare. That's because he's inside the top 10. He's having a good night so far. TJ DeCare has finished in the top 10 twice this week, and he's, I believe, finished the majority of the laps. So that's great experience for the 16-year-old driver.
Dakota Stroop in the 47, trying to close in as the caution lights flash. Bringing the field to a slow.
So field slows, 68 laps to go. Our second yellow flag of the race, 32 laps completed. Reported it was the 2 with a quick spin. Mike Amato. And there it is. So Amato will get it turned back around. We saw whites close to those barrels the other night. Same location.
Yeah.
Remember the craziness a few years ago when Jerry Artuso and a couple of others. We missed Jerry Artuso, the veteran, being here, driver from Canada, usually an annual visitor here to the World Series. Not here in his number 5 car this year, but he was involved in a hard crash that sent the barrels flying just a couple of years ago.
I think
a truck took the brunt.
It ended up in the back of a pickup truck,
yes,
if I remember correctly.
So there's Amato's number 2 car going to get turned around. We saw him go a lap down to the leaders just moments ago. 68 laps to go, still early in this race. Ryan Luza leading. His advantage was 1.2 seconds. So far, I wouldn't call it a dominant effort, but on the verge of being that. If he can continue to put those gaps between himself and the rest of the field, Luza has got to put together over the first 32, and I don't see anybody stepping up there to challenge him yet.
I would call it a strong effort
so far.
Hunter Wright holding on to that second position. Connor Jones, Brent Cruz, and Carson Brown round out your top 5. Dawson Sutton has been strong in 6th. Katie Hettinger, TJ DeCare, Dakota Stroop, and Jimmy Renfrew have been your top 10 throughout the last bit of that green flag run anyhow. We'll come to the 2 to go signal this time around and decide who will restart where. Ryan Luza, one more time, will lead the field to the choose zone. Will he go to the top or the bottom for Ryan Luza there in the 77? Hunter Wright to the top side of the racetrack. Connor Jones to the inside this time.
Luza, coming off of turn 4 the last time around, had the power off the bottom to be able to get to turn 1 and beat the 29 into the corner, closed the door, so he didn't have to worry about racing side by side. 68 laps from the finish, 32 laps in. 44 of Jones restarting in third again. And the 24 of Cruz restarting from fourth. Next time, the field will bring it back to green. Matthew Dillner in the house has finally made his way up here. I have a bone to pick with the guy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you do. Legit.
We're gonna get him straight here in a little bit. Wait till commercial break.
Wait till commercial
break. We have a long, slow green flag run, or a long yellow.
Yeah.
It may just happen.
Lights out on the pace car as we line up for the restart. Ryan Luza alongside Hunter Wright on the front row. Connor Jones, Brett Cruz, the Rackley teammates back in row 3. Dawson Sutton inside Carson Brown. Green flag back up, and Ryan Luza with the jump. Let's see what happens here between Connor Jones and Hunter Wright as we roll off into 1 and 2.
Losing the advantage off the second corner once again. The battle for second. Right. Oh, look out. 3 wide. McDonald on the top. In the middle was Stroop. He backed off to get out of that sandwich, and he almost put himself in another sandwich. That would have been a bad deal for Dakota Stroop, as he was the patient one there. And the battle for second now. Connor Jones has taken the second spot from Hunter Wright. Those two drivers started on the front row early in this race. Cruz to the inside of the 29 of Wright going into the corner. Wright thought about closing the door. Cruz is there, gives him room, and the battle was for third.
He didn't want to give him room, but he was kind of forced to give him room right there. And Cruz just kind of threw the fender to him right there going down into turn 1. Not a lot, but just enough to keep Hunter Wright up the racetrack. And right now, the battle on for third between Cruz in the 24 and Hunter Wright in the 29.
Single file, top 2, and a little bit of a breakaway. There's contact between Cruz and Wright. They'll move up the track. Cruz the advantage by a nose down the back straightaway. And now Wright fights back to the outside lane. 35 laps in, 36 this time. The Rackley War Cars following closely this 2-car battle for position.
Ooh,
a little more,
1 into 1.
A little more smoke flying into the air. Cruz trying to get this job done. It's so tough keeping his momentum up without sliding up the track, making contact with the 29 of Wright.
Still side by side for third. Cruz with a slight advantage.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah, he threw the right rear quarter panel at Hunter Wright right there. Hunter going to dip down to the inside. Slip and slide, dip and dive right there off in turn 2.
Here's the 29 of Wright, gets into the corner. They go around the slower car, bottom of the racetrack. I think that was Worf. And he was up in the top 10 a little while earlier in this race. And Hunter Wright, after all that work by Brent Cruz to squeeze by and make a little contact, Hunter Wright takes it right back.
Yeah, it's almost not fair. But Hunter Wright retakes that third spot as Connor Jones has driven away from that battle. Now Brent Cruz going to have to reload the cannon and see if he can track him back down. Katie Hettinger there on the tail end of the 2 Rackley cars, and here's a good battle for position. They were going at it before that caution flag. Eddie McDonald in the 17 car starting to show some pace as he goes up against Renfrew Jr. in that 00 automobile.
And you see the team cars changing position in the upper left of the screens. The 26 of Dawson Sutton has passed his teammate Carson Brown. Brown set fast time in qualifying earlier. He's been the quicker of the 2 this week with solid finishes up on the podium. And tonight, he loses a position to his team car, so Sutton having a nice run. 59 to go. That time they crossed as there's the 00 of Renfrew, the 17 of McDonald. They're running in 8th and 9th. McDonald has picked up 6th position so far, looking to pick up another.
Ooh, throwing the bumper to him right there through the center of turns 1 and 2. McDonald, a veteran of this type of racing all up and down the East Coast. He comes from Maine, but he's raced just about everywhere east of the Mississippi, and now he's going to look to the inside of Renfrew Jr. to take that position.
So McDonald continues the move forward, pacing himself up into 8th. Probably will need a couple yellows to help pick up a few spots, I think, during the course of this one, if he can pick the right lane, as we saw Lee Sharpstein doing the 6:02s. His amazing work in 15 laps came from the back of the field to like top 5 by just choosing the right lane each time for restarts. As we watch the 25 of Carson Brown and the 81 of Hettinger. Carson Brown setting fast time tonight. And we've seen him this week in races be very strong. Brown has picked up a win, a second and a third. His second and third came in the most recent races, but might be just a tick off in this race unless he's saving something right now.
Katie Hettinger on the back bumper of that number 25 car. We saw that very similar formation a couple of nights back. She and Carson Brown have spent a lot of time racing one another here the last couple of nights. Katie getting the better of this battle here last evening. Right now, Carson Brown keeping her at bay as we close in on the halfway point here. 54 laps remaining, 53 this time around as we complete lap 47.
Closing on that halfway mark. We'll see the cross flags just a couple of laps from now as Hettinger closes on the top qualifier. Carson Brown, remember last night, we've talked about it earlier in this race, they were going for the lead with one another. And Carson Brown, after the race, was a little frustrated with the way Hettinger passed him. Said, if she's that fast, maybe didn't need to make any contact with me. Nonetheless, they finished both in podium positions and a big hit. Luciano in the 94 car has gone around. Big hit for the 94 car. Will bring out the yellow flag. Corey Luciano has been racing with us all week long. Beaverton, Ontario, Canada driver, 15th. Last night, a couple of top 15 runs, driver moving around inside the car, but a big hit brings out our third yellow. 2 laps from the halfway mark, 48 laps completed.
Luciano was the driver that had some issues getting that car started on the initial roll-off here tonight. He's had, as he said, a pretty frustrating week at times. That car has shown some pace, just really hasn't had any luck to get him up into the top 10 throughout the course of the week. In a frustrating way to end what has been a long World Series for Corey Luciano.
Good green flag racing. Seen a good number of passes up in our top 10. What we're going to see now, as window net is down, driver I think getting ready to climb out of that race car. What we're likely to see here shortly is potential battle from Connor Jones, who started on the pole position originally. Fell back a little bit, a couple spots, has worked his way back up to second, and now we'll have a chance to start alongside Ryan Luza. Luza, I think, has got a tough decision to make here. He saw that Jones on the inside of the front row for the start. Now, does he give him the inside or the outside this next time? As we take a look at a replay, as we catch it here, as the 94 and the 99 look like maybe some contact there. And that's a big hit for Luciano. Fortunately, kind of hitting the left rear first.
Seen enough of those incidents to make an inference there. And I'm going to guess that the 99 came up off the bottom, and Luciano wanted to go around and tried to get back up into the groove and just didn't quite have him cleared and turned him back up the opposite side of the racetrack. And that is a very tough way to end your night. Big time hit there for Corey Luciano. Glad to see him climb out of that car under his own power. But indeed, that does put us under the caution flag with 52 laps yet to go.
52 from the finish. Couple laps from halfway. See the cross flags in 2 laps. As we roll under yellow during the heart-to-heart 100 for the Pro Late Models at New Smyrna Speedway. It is the 8th night of 9 nights for the...
Hard to believe. Where's the time gone?
Yeah, I say the first 4 nights of this always kind of goes like, man, we've got a lot left. And after you get past like night 5, night 6, they fly by. And all of a sudden, we're back in cold weather.
and that is indeed what is happening right now. My wife told me it's snowing at home today, so I will take the 86 degrees in sun and just bask in it one more time here tomorrow. before we point her back north to the frigid Midwest.
Ryan Luza, taking the lead early in this race from his third starting position, has led the majority of the laps so far. And now he may have his first real challenge since taking the lead, as Connor Jones maybe settled in early and now could be ready. It was lap number 4 that Ryan Luza took the top spot. As we get ready to double up this time, they'll be choosing at the line. This time, Luza. Will he continue to use the inside? Yes, he does. He chooses the inside lane again. Interesting. Thought he might change it up, but he's been really good when he's done it with Hunter Wright on the outside, so he's not going to break away with it yet.
Why change what works? That 77 car has been very solid on the bottom side of the racetrack all night long. The problem that I think Luza's going to have right here is over the last several years, Connor Jones has worked the top side of the racetrack here as good as anybody, particularly on these restarts. So I think he's kind of darned if he does and darned if he doesn't here on this restart. Ryan Luza going to feel some heat here from Connor Jones when we go back green.
We talk about Connor Jones like he's a veteran. We say the last several years. Well, that's because he's finished runner-up in Pro Late Model points the last 2 years, and he's likely going to win the championship this year. He's turned out to be a pro. He's 16 years old.
And he's only 16.
16.
that's the
he's still almost young enough to where when he says I'm 16, he puts it on his hands.
Exactly. That's the punchline of that whole thing. He's still only 16 as the lights are out on the pace car. Field scrubbing the tires one last time down in 1 and 2, getting the rubber buildup off as we get ready to go back green. Luza and Jones, row 1. Hunter Wright and Brent Cruz, row 2. The Rackley teammates, Dawson, Sutton, and Carson Brown back in row 3. Pace car off. Ralph Miller with the green flag back in the air, and we're racing down into 1, and Connor Jones going to dip in behind Ryan Luza.
Luza's been excellent on the 3 restarts, so he can choose inside or outside. I don't think it would matter at this point. He clears his competition, and look at that lead he built up down the back straightaway in the number 1 spot. For the 3rd position, Hunter Wright on the inside of Brent Cruz.
And of course, these Pro Late models run a crate-style engine, so a lot of the equality in the level of horsepower between the front-running race cars. So when you see a race car jump out to a big lead in 1 lap like that, it's not horsepower, it's handling. That 77 car handling very well right now as we come to the cross flags. 50 in, 50 to go in the heart-to-heart 100.
3rd place battle still ongoing. The 24 of Brent Cruz holds on to it. Hunter Wright falls in line in 4th. Carson Brown has worked his way back into the 5th spot. Dawson Sutton, the teammate who had passed him right before the yellow, has fallen back another spot or 2. And Eddie McDonald, the veteran, in the 17, continues to move forward. He picks up another position. McDonald now up to 6th.
Eddie McDonald has a car that I think is, we got problems down in turn 1.
Mayberry in the 45, one of those R&D on the bottom of the lane, in the 58 also involved. So those 2 drivers, I think Mayberry hit hard up against the wall. The 58 is going to be able to pull away.
I think I see some tire marks that may lead to the number 45 car there of Mike Mayberry, although he does. Yeah, you see the right front tire definitely down right there, although the car does roll. But I do see some damage to the back of the 58 car as well. So I think both of those cars may have had some contact down into 1.
We've made it past the halfway mark. 51 laps completed, 49 to go, and Luza on a few different restarts in this race, twice beating the 29 of Hunter Wright into turn 1 via the inside lane. This time it was Connor Jones, and instantly off of turn 2, Luza got a solid lead of 5 car lengths, just like that. So that's 77 stout right now over the first 51 paces.
Definitely hooked up. It was interesting to see Connor Jones elect the top side of the racetrack, but then he immediately dropped into line and fell in behind the 77 car. Brent Cruz had a decent restart there, moved up to 3rd in front of Hunter Wright.
Tour Type Modified Richie Evans Memorial 100 is coming up next. That will be our second event on the program.
Let's take a look at the weather here, and yeah, 76 degrees right now.
Little slight chance of a passing shower coming up in the next hour or two.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is the Truck Series race going on at the big track right now. They had a little rain shower early in that race that put them under the caution flags. They're back racing at the big track. So Adam, I think regardless if we get a little sprinkle, it would be very, very passing. But indeed, a beautiful night for racing here, and Mother Nature. She's done her best to rain on our parade, literally rain on our parade early in the week, but I think we'll be good tonight. I do.
2 to go and choose this time. Ryan Luza, inside lane's been working for him, so we fully expect him to do it again. And he does. Connor Jones will try again from the outside lane. Brent Cruz, Hunter Wright, 3rd and 4th. Brown takes the outside from the 5th spot. So Carson Brown on that last restart picked up a position or two. And now look at McDonald. All of a sudden, remember, he started 15th in this race. 16th, actually, for McDonald.
And what number is Lee Sharpstein?
17. Both of them have done very well the last 2 nights. Sharpstein used some very good choices on some early chooses, and there were plenty of chances to do that last night because of the crashes in the 602 modified feature. And he moved from deep in the pack up to the front very quickly.
And Eddie McDonald, a veteran driver with a lot of experience on a wide range of racetracks, and he knows these race cars inside and out. I'm going to go out on a branch here and say Eddie McDonald may be a win here tonight. Still a long way to go. He has raced his way up towards the front and still has a very fast race car, and I think that experience will come into his benefit as we come to the closing stages of this one. The lights are out on the pace car. We will bring them down to take the green with 49 laps yet to run.
Luz on the inside, Jones on the outside. This time Jones stays with him, back to the line, and Luza has the advantage into turn 1 and 2. And right there is Jones on the rear. Didn't make any contact. They cleanly get off of the second corner, down the backstretch into 3. But they will have a yellow and another restart for a car stopped. It's TJ DeCare, who had a nice run going. DeCare was in the top 10. We saw a lot of them over the first 50 laps of this race. But DeCare has stopped. Brings the yellow out. Car looks to be okay, but comes down pit road. Crew will take a look at it and see if there's anything they can do. But honestly, we don't notice anything. Maybe something on the left side.
Crew going to the left side of that car. They'll jack it up, and looks like he may have a tire down. The left. Now they're just going to use that tire as a jack stand. Maybe a drive shaft issue or rear gear issue.
We see some covers going toward the modifieds right now. I don't like that sign.
I don't like it either.
Maybe they're just trying to keep their setup secrets.
That's it.
49 to go in the heart-to-heart 100 for the Pro Late models tonight. Charlie Crawl, Adam Mackey, and Jacqueline Drake with you, bringing you the action on Flow Racing tonight. A little bit of a drizzle.
MD's blaming you for this.
Hey, you were the one that kind of started the forecast. I just showed you on my phone, and you said, let's
well, you
talk
showed
about the
it
forecast.
to me. I thought you wanted me to talk about it.
I didn't mean that you had to talk about what was going to happen. I just wanted you to have that in the back of your mind.
Well, I think it slowed the truck race down the street for about 3 laps. So I don't think this weather situation is going to be a big deal for us at all as we continue to circulate under the caution flag. And TJ DeCare has finished his work down on pit road and is tagged on the tail end of the field. So that team finding whatever the issue may have been.
rolling under yellow, under the sprinkles that are falling. In this Pro Late Model 100. One more night of racing left after tonight. That's tomorrow evening here at New Smyrna Speedway, when the Super Late Models will be the special event with the Orange Blossom 100. Florida Modified's back for 35 laps. The truck's running 50 tomorrow night. Mod Mini's running 50. Super Stock 50 and Bomber B 20 lapper tomorrow night here at the World Series. Still plenty of action yet to go tonight. The Richie Evans Memorial 100 coming up next. Then the trucks, Super Stocks, Bomber Bs, and Vintage Cars. They'll have their feature action coming up. Short distance affairs for each of those divisions here tonight. Looking at radar, just a bunch of little scattered, very small, light pop-ups on the radar. Nothing like what we had seen last week, but still might be a little pesky, I think would be the way to describe them. Coming to the 2 to go and choose for Ryan Luza. Luza, so far flawless in this race. Goes to the inside, Jones again, just a complete replay of what we saw last time when they made the decisions to choose. You see drivers don't even get close to that arrow anymore.
They've learned their lesson, I think.
Even in the vicinity, yes.
Learned their lesson.
It's the first year that they've used the choose rule here, and I think it's been a good thing. It's been fine, which is fine. 49 laps to go.
It definitely has added a layer of interest and intrigue that we didn't have here the last couple of years, and has given some drivers, Lee Sharpstein, for instance, and tonight, and Eddie McDonald, the opportunity to make up some positions on these restarts. And we'll keep an eye on that 17 car. Inside row 3 on the restart, Eddie McDonald continuing to knife his way up through the field. Still 49 laps remaining. Luza and Jones on the front row. Cruz and Hunter Wright back in row 2. McDonald and Carson Brown. There's Katie Hettinger alongside Dawson Sutton back there in row 4. Gus Dean and Jimmy Renfrew Jr. back in row 5 as the pace car makes the hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. Ryan Luza on the hammer, coming back to green off of 4.
And again, he picks up the pace in that starting box down there and absolutely leaves the 44 of Connor Jones in his dust. He pulls out front, and that opens the inside lane for Brent Cruz. Cruz for the second spot on the inside of Jones.
Eddie McDonald to the inside of Hunter Wright as well. Battle on for second, battle on for fourth off of turn 4. Cruz throwing the fender to Connor Jones down the front stretch.
Side-by-side action for the runner-up spot. 44 of Jones, the slight advantage for that position. We also see Hunter Wright in the 29, the 25 of Carson Brown battling. Look at second and third sideways in the middle of the front straightaway.
Yeah, they got together pretty good there off of 4, and there comes Eddie McDonald to the inside. McDonald trying to, we see one sideways off at turn 2. TJ Monroe in the 16 car spinning off at turn 2.
Field slows. Yellow out 53. Laps completed. 47 to go. Well, you can see the intensity is picked up for second place, and then back a few positions as well. Eddie McDonald has moved up to 4th, Charlie, from 16th starting spot.
It's like he gets 1 or 2 positions every time we come back to green. Used up Hunter Wright off of turn 2 that last restart. Let's take a look at what happened there off of turn 2. Keep an eye on that black and orange number 16 to the bottom. Ooh, he drifts up the racetrack and gets up into Isabella Robusto. And rather than get into her and spin her out, he kind of turned it hard left and
got into the door.
Yeah.
When he got into the door, that turned him. If he'd have got into her left rear quarter panel, probably would have spun the one car. She was fortunate where he hit her. And she's having a solid run for her first appearance of the week. Currently shown in 12th in the running order for Isabella Robusto. Shouldn't be much damage done to the TJ Monroe car. So it did come to the stop there on the backstretch. 53 down, 47 to go. This race was pretty clean and green over the first 50. Here in the middle part of this race, as the intensity picks up, so have the yellow flags. TJ DeCare getting a lap back with the free pass. Good break for the 88 car. Again, was strong early. He's going to, I believe, be back on the lead lap from what we've just heard. So Ryan Luza, not just fast under green, he's very fast and has been able to leave whoever he has restarted behind well behind him going into 1 and 2 each time. So that makes the decision easy for him because it can be inside or outside. It really doesn't matter. The inside's worked out well because he has them cleared before he gets to turn 1. So he doesn't have to worry about the guy in the outside lane kind of pinching him down, keeping his momentum down, because they're gone and in the clear behind him before he gets to that first corner. There's the choose.
Let's see where Eddie McDonald lines up. He's going to go to the top. That car's been a bottom feeder the last few restarts. Let's see if he can use that top lane to his advantage here. Of course, a lot of that's going to depend upon what Connor Jones does here on this restart. Jones to the outside of Ryan Luza. Brent Cruz alongside Eddie McDonald in row 2. Hunter Wright and Carson Brown. Dawson Sutton and Jimmy Renfrew Jr. back in row 4. Gus Dean and Katie Hettinger. Hettinger holding on to the last spot in the top 10. That car fading a little bit here in the mid stages of our heart-to-heart 100.
I think she's kind of gotten shuffled back on these restarts. They've gotten a lap in. She's lost a spot or two, gotten a lap in, lost a spot or two. She was fine before we started having all these restarts, and we haven't really had a green flag run of anything more than a lap or two here in the middle part of this race. So we get the 1 to go. Luza leads. Connor Jones will start alongside. The Smyrna Speedway pace car will take it back to the pits again, logging some laps here in the middle portion of this race. Brent Cruz, here's McDonald now in the money spot, but it doesn't work quite the same with the restarts that 77 has been getting. In fact, Cruz got inside of Jones on a recent restart. Back to green at New Smyrna Speedway. 47 to go.
Another great restart by Ryan Luza. Connor Jones trying to hang tough to the outside, but he will fall back in line. Connor taking that second position free and clear. Brent Cruz holding on to the third spot. And now Eddie McDonald side by side with Hunter Wright. Here comes a challenge for the lead into 1.
Jones laying a little bit of bumper to the 77 car of Luza on the exit of turn number 4 that time. And here we go. We've got problems up in turn number 1 as the 15 car of Thomas Chrysonis has hit the right front up against the wall. Right front is down. Yellow flag is out just as the lead battle heated up. Ryan Luza had momentarily given up the lead to Connor Jones as Connor Jones moved him over a bit in turn 4. But Luza fought right back, and I think Luza was going to take the lead back from him. He made a good run to the outside lane. Last completed lap showing Luza as the leader. 46 to go. It's been 1 lap and a yellow, 1 lap and a yellow. It's a struggle here in the middle part of this race for really single car type mishaps.
Yeah. And I think we've had a couple of them that have been caused by maybe a flat right front tire or equipment failure. You know, nothing that the drivers themselves are doing. As we continue to circulate, we also see Jimmy Renfrew Jr. You saw him pull down off of turn 4 down pit road, so he will give up a top 10 position to hit pit road. There's Jimmy in the 00 car with his team. Looks like they're going to go under the hood as we continue to circulate under. Let's take a look at the speed shot here on this Flow Racing replay. Look closely at what happened. Ooh, there we see the 15 car bouncing off the outside wall coming off of turn 4. Take one more look at it there. Yeah, he makes a couple of really good smacks to that outside wall right there, Adam, and that's what's going to put him down into the wall in turn 1.
It's like a little Baja coming down the front straightaway there for the 15.
Good work by our eyes down in the truck to catch that, because I don't know that we would have seen that if not for them pointing that out. That car's been piloted by a couple of different drivers this week. Ooh, there's a spring rolling out from under that thing. Yeah.
Came through at the right time before the field got around. That was close.
Yep.
Lifted the car off the ground, and there went the spring. Off the right front of that number 15.
And the great thing about it is I don't think the safety crew noticed it.
The guy in the tow truck did. He pointed.
Right.
He did point to the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to go down and get it right there.
Looks like cleanup will be quick. Probably will double the field up next time around. Officials have done a great job all week trying to keep the program moving along. Even last night with all of the yellow flags that we had, especially in the 602s, doing what they could to keep the show moving. It was a busy night last night. We had a couple special events, 75 lapper for the Florida Mods, 66 lapper for the 602s. The 602s really put on some great shows this week. Last night was a rough one, though. They tore up some equipment, unfortunately, on their final night of the week. That's been a great addition to the World Series the last few years.
And we saw two drivers win, two each, in the 602 mods, and two really young, just awesome competitors in that division. Trevor Catalano picked up the first couple of wins, and Luke Baldwin picked up the second. Both of those drivers just 14 years of age. In the first race of the week, Trevor Catalano won by 1/1000th of a second. Just an incredible, incredible finish.
Ryan Luz has been the story of this race, and he's had a great week. A couple of top qualifying efforts, a win.
See the safety crew there at the bottom of turn 2 as we circulated through that end of the racetrack there. I believe Johnny Crash Aramendia may have come to a stop on the bottom side of the racetrack there as well.
Possibly doubling up this time. We'll see. Not quite yet. As they will continue to make sure track is ready to go over in turn number 2. The 58 does now pull away from the second corner.
I think that may have been an unrelated incident to what happened down there in turn 1 with Corsonis and the 15K.
You were over at the big track today.
Yeah. Lots of action over there in ARCA Menard Series qualifying. Of course, we saw Frankie Muniz, the former star of Malcolm in the Middle, lead practice yesterday. That was an awesome story to be able to tell. And he didn't quite have the right group in qualifying. He's going to start deep in the field, 16th. And a guy that we have seen all week long, Connor Mosack, picking up the General Tire Pole Award. He'll start P1 tomorrow. And a guy we have also seen here over the course of the past couple of years, and if you followed us here on Flow Racing, we've seen him pick up a couple of ARCA Menard Series West championships. Jesse Love will start alongside on the front row. So a couple of very talented young drivers will lead the field to green in that ARCA Menard Series season opener. You can see the ARCA Daytona 200 live on FS1 tomorrow starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
46 to go. 54 in. Caution plagued middle stage of this race. Love to see a nice green flag run here. So we get the 1 to go. Luza and Jones. It was the first time that Luz has been challenged. He was able to clear him, but then down in 3 and 4, coming back to complete the lap. Jones used the bumper to move the 77 over. Got underneath him and looked like he was about to complete the pass, but Luza started to fight back right before the yellow. To the restart. Here again, Luza and Jones side by side in our front row.
Pace car on pit road. Luza picking up the pace. Looks like Connor Jones may have put the power down a little bit before Jones was able to. He's going to get the advantage down into 1. Hunter Wright also going to pull alongside Luza. Now Luza's going to get the good drive off of the bottom of turn 2. He's going to stick the nose out front. Good battle for the lead. There's Brent Cruz alongside Hunter Wright. 2 rows deep, side by side, battling for the front 4 positions.
At this stage of the race, I still say no one has anything for that 77. It is fast. He closes the door on the 44 of Jones on the back straightaway. See what he can do here. Jones moved him over after the last restart. In fact, does so again. Gets back to the inside on the front straightaway. Jones getting pretty racy here. 44 laps to go.
Connor Jones throwing the bumper to Ryan Luza there. He moves him up the racetrack and now pulls alongside. Luza uses the momentum that he builds up from the top lane to sneak that nose out ahead. But, yeah, the 44 car, Connor Jones, really strong to the bottom side of the racetrack. Cruz throwing the fender to Hunter Wright down into turn one.
A little bit of rubbing in the top 4 spots. Now Luza clears the 44 car of Jones. Jones again into the corner. Bumps again slightly the 77 of Luza. I think now Luza can gain some ground, get some space between himself and Jones. That was Jones' chance right there. When he's close after a restart, maybe to use a little bit of bumper, try to wiggle that car a little bit, and then the 77, once they get rolling, is able to pull away by a few car lengths. Both are pulling away from Hunter Wright and the 24 Brent Cruz. Carson Brown completing the top 5.
First time we've really seen Hunter Wright be able to maintain a position this close to the front throughout the course of the week. That 29 car looking very strong here in the middle stages as he's fought off the charge from Brent Cruz to hold on to the 3rd position.
40 laps to go. Longest green flag run we've had in some time. McDonald in the 17 running 6th. He's sandwiched between the team cars, the Rackley War Racing cars of Carson Brown and Dawson Sutton. McDonald started 16th and moved up as high as 5th, I believe. Actually as high as 4th. And right now, after the restart, had fallen back to 6th, where he settles in.
Yeah, McDonald giving up a couple of positions on the last couple of restarts. Looked like he had a car that might have been able to get up there and race with Connor Jones and Ryan Luza, but right now he's mired behind Carson Brown and Brent Cruz. Laps ticking off. Now 62 laps complete. Just 38 laps remaining as the top 2 cars have separated themselves from Hunter Wright back in 3rd. Looking at lap times, very consistent for Ryan Luza. Last lap, 19.004. Connor Jones last lap, 19.011. So both within 7/1000ths of a second of one another.
Connor Jones with 2 wins this week. Ryan Luza with 1. He liked to win the big win of the week for the Pro Late Models. Tonight's Heart to Heart 100. Going to be 35 laps to go. This is the battle for 5th. Carson Brown in the 25. Eddie McDonald in the 17.
McDonald's car has been really good whenever we've been able to stack some green flag laps upon one another. And right now that car's starting to come back to life as he's inching in on the back bumper there of Carson Brown down in turns 1 and 2. Looked like McDonald might have just nudged him ever so slightly. Little casual contact there off of turn 2.
Got the team cars there teaming up on him there, surrounding that 17 of Eddie McDonald, who would love to move back up into the top 5. He was able to make a lot of passes in the first half of this race to move up into the top 5, and it's gotten a little tougher, obviously, with the faster cars here toward the front, but he's had a nice run after starting 16th. 33 laps to go as we've completed 2/3 of this race. Ryan Luza continues to lead, the Cypress, Texas driver, at the front of the field over Connor Jones, Hunter Wright, Brent Cruz, and Carson Brown. And that lead is kind of just stabilized right there. I think Ryan Luza's satisfied as long as he can kind of stay out of range from Connor Jones laying that bumper to him.
We've seen Luza maintain about anywhere between half a second to a 1 second advantage when we were able to stack some of those green flag laps on to one another earlier in the race. And right now that's right about where he's at. Just about 4/10 of a second the advantage that time around. There's the battle for 3rd between Brent Cruz and the 24 as he tries to find his way past Hunter Wright in the 29.
Hunter Wright right there, inside lane. Trying to keep the 24 of Cruz at bay in 3rd and 4th. Back to the 25 of Carson Brown. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. The way they've been running since the restart. 70 down, 30 laps to go. I think McDonald maybe just a little bit better right now. That car really still handling well. He gets kind of blocked by the slower car of Caceres there. Still gets to the inside. What a run for McDonald into 1 and 2.
Yeah, there's a good veteran move right there by Eddie McDonald as he, those two cars came together down the backstretch right there. You saw both of them get out of shape.
I think Carson Brown might have come off the wall just a little bit, surprising McDonald. They did a good job to keep him in the right direction as McDonald will move into the top 5. And here comes Sutton again. Oh, look out. The two get together, the team cars.
We've seen team cars get together a couple of times this week. Thankfully, these two team cars played a little nicer than we saw in our Florida Modified feature event a couple of nights back, as Dawson Sutton getting into Carson Brown there just ever so slightly through turns 1 and 2. There's Gavin Bichelle in the 5. First time we've seen him racing up into the top 10 tonight.
Single file now. These cars inside our top 10. McDonald, in fact, in 5th spot. Brown 6th. Sutton 7th. 5 of Bichelle is there as well.
Bichelle actually several laps down in 20th position, but that car running well enough to be up with the leaders.
And Hedinger there. Hedinger actually shown in 8th position on the lead lap. Rolling around the 99 of Whites, the 17 of Turbush. As we're now 75 down, 25 to go. Continuing to watch the cars right around 5th on back, working some traffic. Mike Amato moves over. There's Camish, Ryan Camish, the 42, making his first trip to the World Series, going down a lap to the leaders. Camish shown in 14th position. So 13 drivers on the lead lap. That's third place battle. Hunter Wright, Brent Cruz.
Brent Cruz has had an up and down week throughout the course of the 8 nights of racing here. He started off really strong, was involved in an incident early in the week, had to go to a backup car, as we see the battle now between the two Rackley Roofing teammates. Dawson Sutton to the inside. He's going to take over 6th from Carson Brown. Eddie McDonald has driven past both of these drivers and driven off into this. And so you see Eddie in the 17 cars. He's trying to track down that battle for third between Hunter Wright and Brett Cruz.
So Sutton a couple times tonight has worked past his teammate Carson Brown. Shows how much that Sutton has improved throughout the course of the week. We're down to the final 20 laps. The next time they cross, Ryan Luza has built up a 1.3 second lead. There it is, the difference, a half straightaway advantage over Connor Jones. He's been good from the start of this race. Took the lead from 3rd position on lap number 4, and he's been outstanding. Just had that one finish this week that really kind of took him out of contention for the standings. Finished 18th on opening night, but a 5th, 2nd, 1st, and 2nd since then, with fast qualifying efforts mixed in for Ryan Luza. Hunter Wright, Brent Cruz, 3rd and 4th.
These two have been going at it pretty much since the drop of the opening green flag tonight. We're on lap 81, and I believe they have been nose to tail for 81 consecutive, now make it 82 consecutive laps. They have not been able to get away from each other at all tonight. And right now, Hunter Wright with the advantage. Cruz has been able to race his way. Remember, earlier in the race, he was able to work his way past, but Hunter Wright immediately cranked it left, turned underneath him, and went right back by him. So Hunter Wright holding on to 3rd, Brent Cruz holding on to 4th, as Eddie McDonald continues to close in on these two.
Hunter Wright and Cruz, they've been battling one another for a good while. There's a little bit of slight contact in 3, nothing major. Cruz allows the 29 of Hunter Wright to get down, but I think Cruz wants to move up into that 3rd position. They get around the slower car, the 99 of Whites. Luza continues to lead all by himself. The lead is now nearly 2 seconds at the front of the field. And there is the 24 of Cruz going after the 29 of Hunter Wright. Once again, 15 laps from the finish. Longest green flag run of the race.
Mike Amato again on the bottom side of the racetrack. These two clear him off of turn 2. Cruz again getting into the back bumper of Hunter Wright through the center of turns 3 and 4.
And now he's going to make a run to the inside, heading into turn 1. third place up for grabs. Cruz on the inside lane. Brent Cruz from Cornelius, North Carolina, 14-year-old driver going after Hunter Wright in the 29.
Saw him with an impressive performance on one of the preliminary nights at the Chili Bowl here live on Flow Racing back in January. Trying to diversify his racing skills, jumping from the dirt open wheel cars to a pavement late model here as he closes in on the back bumper of Hunter Wright. Just a dozen more times around as we close in on the finish. Good battle for position, and there is our leader, Ryan Luza. No battle for this position right now, Adam. He has continued to open that gap. 2.3 seconds last time around. Let's check the gap this time. 2.2 seconds, but he did have to work his way around a lap car right there, so I'm going to say he's able to maintain that gap.
What a run for Ryan Luza. With 10 laps to go, he is hoping very much right now that this race stays green the rest of the way. That could be the only thing that takes him out of contention for this victory, because no one has had anything for him except immediately after a restart when Connor Jones was close enough to wiggle him with a little contact to the rear. There is the 24 of Cruz on the inside. The 29 of Hunter Wright. Side by side is now Cruz will start to close the door a little early. Wright's going to cross over, go back to the inside. Might just take the spot back as they head down the back straightaway. Hunter Wright not giving up on his battle for third.
Very familiar look to that move right there. That's exactly what happened earlier. Brent Cruz moved him up the racetrack, made the pass to the inside, then drifted up the racetrack. Hunter Wright turned it hard left, went back underneath him, and retook the spot. Done it twice now. Hunter Wright holds on to third. Brent Cruz still sitting in fourth.
7 laps remain for Ryan Luza. Cruz is not done in this battle for third. Wright's wheeling that car. Looks like he could be very well on his way to a runner-up in the points, but honestly, right now it would be a tie between he and Luza, I think unofficially for second, which Luza would take the advantage there. As the 24 Brent Cruz goes back to the inside of Hunter Wright for the position. Again, Connor Jones came in as the point leader in the 44, 28 points ahead of Hunter Wright. And Jones still having a good run in second. Looks like he's going to clinch that without any issues as we get the 5 to go signal. Ryan Luza leading here in this heart-to-heart 100, make it 3.2 seconds ahead.
He has really turned up the wick here late in the going. Connor Jones in second. Hunter Wright, Brent Cruz still fighting for third and fourth. Eddie McDonald holding on to the 5th position. No pressure at all out the back door, as Ryan Luza continuing to stretch out that advantage.
Going to be 3 laps to go for Luza. Impressive all week long. Ryan Luza has driven this Jet Motorsports car, and then among the fastest each night, there's Cruz again. Well, yet again, a battle for that third position. Cruz trying to take the spot. Last time Wright crossed over and took the spot back away. Cruz is a little bit quicker. This time he might have it.
I think Brent Cruz went to school on that move. Didn't give Hunter Wright the opportunity to do that, but that has allowed Eddie McDonald to move into the mix. McDonald now right off the back bumper of the 29 car as off at turn 4. Ryan Luza looking at the white flag. Final time around. Cleanly down into turns 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. No pressure at all. Ryan Luza just half a lap away from victory here in the heart-to-heart 100.
Former champion of the Pro Lates at Five Flags Speedway. Tonight at New Smyrna Speedway, the winner of the Heart-to-Heart 100, Ryan Luza. Second spot, Connor Jones clinches the championship. Brent Cruz will take third. Hunter Wright fourth. Eddie McDonald, good run tonight, picks up 11 spots as a hard charger to finish 5th. Dawson Sutton 6th. Carson Brown 7th. Katie Hedinger finishes her strong week in 8th. Gus Dean and Isabella Robusto finishes 10th. Good run for the number 1.
Excellent run for Isabella Robusto there. First night, only night she will be in that car here this week. But a great way to end the week for one of the most dominant cars of the week. Ryan Luza picking up win number 2 and doing it in style here, picking up the victory in the Heart to Heart 100.
Tour type modified 100 lapper Richie Evans Memorial is coming up next. And there's Luza. What a week he's had. As Connor Jones will burn it out down at the end of the straightaway. Oh, they put a little dirt out on the racetrack, and he's going to do it again. They're going to have to clean up turn number 1, Charlie. The track crew are going to have to go to work as Connor Jones celebrates his championship of the World Series after 2 runner-up finishes in the points the last 2 years. Connor Jones.
Kind of feel like some vindication right there for Connor Jones. He has been incredibly fast the last couple of years and finally able to get it done.
As we go down to victory lane to hear from our winner, Ryan Luza.
Ryan Luza is going to exit out of that 77 winner tonight. Received congratulations from his Jet Motorsports team. Ryan, congratulations on the win in this feature event. What was the key to your success?
We just had track position early on. I think we had the best car. Just hard to hold off Connor. He fired off really good there for 4 or 5 laps, but once we got going, we were better. But yeah, just all track position. We hit the invert pretty well. Tried to play the game in qualifying. Just can't thank all the Jet guys enough. Daryl with AMS Roofing. Shout out to Daryl. I know he's watching. Nouveau Elevator, and just everyone that makes this happen.
You had several restarts there where you had to conserve your tires. How were you able to do so?
I don't know. We weren't really conserving there. Connor wouldn't let me. I knew he wasn't going to let me. I was just hoping the guys behind him were driving as hard as we were. But we kind of just took off there and set sail.
Ryan Luza, your feature event winner tonight in the Pro Late Models.
Yeah, what a week for Ryan Luza. As we see Connor Jones finishing second tonight and claiming the championship for the Pro Late Models. I think he has a bright future ahead of him as he climbs out to celebrate his championship here at the World Series. After 2 years of trying, his 3rd year, he makes it happen. His week's not done, though. He's got Super Late Model 100 coming up tomorrow night. As second place is part of the story, but the bigger story is his championship, Jacqueline.
Connor, congratulations on the championship here in the Pro Late Model division and, of course, your performance. Another podium. How was your car handling in that feature?
The car was really good. We were just getting outmotored. You know, we got a little teeny bone stock Chevy crate in it, and it's really hard to keep up with the guys with the built motors. You know, Lucy did a great job all night, holding me off. You know, he'd squeeze me high, squeeze me low. It didn't matter where he was just genuinely faster. You know, so good job to Ryan. But really, I just want to thank all my guys. You know, Pepperjack Kennels, Tool Shack, DreamWorks, Nutrisource, Pet Food, and Fire Special Solutions and R&S Race Cars.
The bigger picture here is you're now a World Series of Asphalt champion. How significant is this to you in your career?
Oh, it's massive. Never really won a championship in a late model or in a late model in general. It's pretty cool to win one right now.
Congratulations, Connor Jones, bringing home second place this evening, and your Pro Late Model champion. Going to accept his trophy.
Very tough to finish every race, first of all, just to avoid the problems during the week, especially in a class that can be a little rougher with more young drivers and inexperienced drivers. Not only did Connor Jones do that, as he has the last couple of years, he did it with great finishes every night. Some of that's the key. I guess he's ahead of a lot of stuff that transpires back in the field. But Connor Jones, 3 years in a row, was second, and first. That's pretty doggone impressive.
And to have the level of consistency that he had this week, really impressive as well. And as you said, a big future for this young man. He's already announced that he will run some races with Venerini Motorsports in the ARCA Menard Series. He will punctuate that with some runs for ThorSport Racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So a big year for Connor Jones.
Third place finisher Brent Cruz worked hard for that third position, racing with Hunter Wright, Jacqueline.
He sure did work hard. Now on the podium this evening in the feature event. Brent, what was going through your mind in those final laps with the battle of Hunter?
Yeah, he races really hard, and it's a hard clean at the same time. So definitely fun racing with him and being able to learn from him and the two guys in front. It was a blast to be here. I just want to thank this whole Gear Wrench Toyota crew. This Camry was really solid tonight. We worked through the weekend and just got better and better each night, and I feel like I learned as much as I could learn in a 6-day period.
Brent Cruz taking home third place.
Pro Late Model 100, the Heart to Heart 100 completed. Ryan Luza claims the victory. Tour Type Modified Richie Evans Memorial 100. It's up next on Flow Racing. See lined up along the inside wall, the Tour Type Modifieds for the Richie Evans Memorial 100 here at New Smyrna Speedway, and then lined up a little further in, some of the cars from the modified reunion that's always held on Richie Evans Memorial Friday here at the World Series, and I think those cars are going to take some laps as well here before we get going. That light rainfall hasn't really been heavy at all.
Not at all. Just
the cars,
pesky.
Pesky. The car's still covered at this point just to make sure they stay dry. You see the first modified right there in the middle of your shot, one of the Richie Evans cars, the orange 61.
An absolutely incredible looking race car. Every year we come here and that car is on display throughout the week. I head on down and just check it out up close, and realizing that that car is close to 40 years old. And you just look at it, and it still looks like it could go out there and compete with the cars of today and be competitive with it. That's how much Richie Evans paid attention to detail and how well he put those cars together. It's just an incredible piece.
Story of the week in the Tour Type Modifieds has been Matt Hirschman. He has won Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now he comes to the big one, an event that he's won 6 times. Came into the World Series this year with 13 victories. 6 of those victories came in this 100-lap race. And now he's going to try to claim his 7th. He won another Blewett race on a Wednesday night. In 50-lap affairs this week, he's been dominant. Only time he was really challenged was by Patrick Emmerling, when the 2 drivers 2 nights ago battled it out for the lead. Been a little bit of slight drama between those 2 competitors. They finished first and second all 4 nights.
There's the current situation. You saw some raindrops in the air. But
well, that's good. It's going sideways.
That's what I was going to say.
It's not going to hit the ground, right?
And the good thing about it is it means there's some wind there that's helping blow whatever little storm. I'm not even going to call it a storm system because it's not. It's just one little pop-up cell of very light sprinkles. So we're going to put the modified reunion cars out on the racetrack, and there is that number 61, Richie Evans.
They will pace the track a little bit, maybe help keep some heat and some dryness on the raceway. By far, the track isn't very wet, despite a little bit of rain falling, and hopefully we can keep it that way as some scattered sprinkles come through the area. The Tour Type Modified cars lined up on pit road. Some of the drivers in their cars getting ready to go for that event. Some of the cars still covered up, trying to keep them dry till the last minute. But a lot of these cars you see on a year after year basis down at the reunion show that goes on in the parking lot very early in the day. They have a good time out in the parking lot, then come in and enjoy the races during the evening. Still on our schedule for tonight here at New Smyrna Speedway is the Tour Type Modified Richie Evans Memorial 100 coming up next. The trucks racing for the first time this week. A 25-lapper follows that. The Super Stocks 20-lapper, Bomber V20, and Vintage Car 20 to round out our program here tonight at the World Series.
It's another cool looking Richie Evans ride right there.
That one's a little more than 40 years old.
I'm going to guess that one's closer to 60. Almost my age, yeah.
Mark Keeler coming through the headphones with a little jab.
How old do you think I am? Jeez Louise. I had somebody tell me I looked 42 years old the other day, which I thought was a great compliment.
Well, that's my age.
Someone on this crew, by the way, told me I looked 40.
So there's a good mix of some modified, some stock cars.
Ooh, No penalty.
Good question.
That Firebird, I think, might get sent to the back right there.
Ran over the choose arrow. And you see the rainfall and the lights there as the cars go down through turns 1 and 2. See a little more scampering down in the pits, which means the intensity has picked up a little bit in the rainfall here at the racetrack. It's like a flashback to last weekend. I guess it's just
Absolutely.
the weekends. You know, we always say it's always nice during the week at racetracks, and then as soon as the weekend hits, the rain hits.
Absolutely.
Well, even is the case for the World Series, I guess.
Absolutely.
Last weekend, as there you see, some of the fans starting to kind of make its way. It's not as heavy as it may look at the lights. But
Absolutely.
it's definitely a heavy mist or a light rain right now. And
just enough to be pesky. And as you can tell, the racetrack is still more dry than not as these cars continue to circulate behind the pace cars. So we're still in pretty good shape for the Richie Evans 100 coming up here momentarily.
these are the modified reunion cars, just making some laps around the track to give the fans a look at these cool rides that were on display earlier today.
You know, Adam, the great thing about these race cars is the other Richie Evans car has rolled down pit road. You see it right there at the bottom of your screen. These cars were all hand built back then. There were no chassis shops that were building these cars, you know, in bulk. You know, the bodies weren't coming from, you know, businesses that stamped these things or made them out of composite materials. These were all hand built, hand fabricated race cars. Every one of them was different. Every one of them was built by someone who had the vision to do it and did it in their own garage. And that's why I think these are such interesting pieces of racing history, because none of them are the same.
Of course, we've talked about it this week when it comes to the Tour Type Modifieds. There's been no sweeps in the Tour Type Modifieds. Matt Hirschman has a chance to do just that. He's won his last 6 World Series starts dating back to last year. He is on a streak.
Impressive.
And that ties Richie Evans for 6 straight from 1981. 7 now. So 7 now. So he has set them as he had it tied 1 night ago. So, yeah, Hirschman's been getting it done, losing count, as he just continues to win night after night, and he hopes to be able to get out there and do it as the anticipation builds for that 100-lap event here this evening. The Richie Evans 100, Hirschman atop that wins list has won, listen to this, the last 4 of these races. As now the reunion cars will pick up the pace a little bit, a little more heat on the racetrack, but Hirschman's won the last 4, giving him now 6 total Richie Evans Memorial wins. Ryan Preece saw him pick up his 3rd win back in 2018. He did those all within 4 years, actually. Preece won in 15, 16, and 18. Teddy Christopher, of course, picked up 5. His last Richie Evans Memorial win came back in 2011. Some big names along the list when you look down through at all the winners from the Richie Evans Memorial. We're just rolling the reunion cars around under this little bit of a delay. They're getting a 1 to go, so they're going to allow them to get up to some speed. I think the rain has dissipated enough to allow these cars to pick up a little more speed, and we're going to find out if that is the case and if the track is ready when they barrel down into turn 1 here in just a couple of moments, Charlie.
This is Dave Sapienza sitting down on pit wall, having a nice chat with some crew members down there. Jacqueline Drake just kind of chilling in the background down there. Jacqueline doing a great job getting some of the inside scoop for us down in the infield throughout the last couple of nights here.
So they are picking up the pace a little bit. Little exhibition race here before we roll into the Richie Evans Memorial 100. Starting lineup tonight in our 100-lap race. Fast qualifier was Matt Hirschman. Not a big surprise, though he hasn't been the fast qualifier every night. Then he drew the number 4 hill, putting himself in the 4th starting position with Catalano starting on the pole. Tommy Catalano will be up front for the first time this week.
We've seen a Catalano up front frequently here this week, but
Trevor in the 602s.
Trevor, exactly. First time we've seen Tommy up near the front, so it'll be fun to watch the 54 car. See some of these other historic racers make their way around the racetrack. That's the kind of car that I grew up watching right there, Adam, that number 45 car. That's what a late model looked like when I was a youngster up at Flat Rock Speedway and Toledo Speedway up in southeast Michigan, northwest Ohio.
Exhibition continues for the show for the reunion that was held in the parking lot here this afternoon. But Catalano Tommy starting from the pole of this 100-lap race coming up in just moments. Ronnie Williams, who's been fast all week, had some bad luck last night, fell out of the event, starts second tonight. Tyler Ripkema in the 32 qualified in the third position, actually second position, so we'll start third. Had a good run last night, and Matt Hirschman starts fourth. Hirschman's closest competitor each and every night has been Patrick Emmerling, who has finished second in the 4 races starting since Monday, and Emmerling just missed the invert. Will start from the 5th starting spot here tonight. Anthony Ocella starts in the 6th position. Looks like nearly 30 cars on the scheduled starting lineup for the Tour Type Modified Richie Evans Memorial 100 here tonight. Field getting the 2 to go, so a couple more laps of this exhibition race for these cars. Picking up some pretty good speeds out there, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think these guys are looking to set any kind of track record out there, but they are out there to have a little bit of fun, stretch the legs of these race cars every now and then.
One of the members of our Flow Racing team, Jacqueline Drake, catching up with one of the drivers coming up in the Tour Type Modified feature. Jacqueline?
Yeah, up next, guys, you can see Spencer Davis, which is right beside me. Spencer, what can we expect out of you for this feature event?
I think there's going to be a variant of strategies here tonight. Obviously, the 60 car is going to be fast. He's going to try to pace the field at what he wants up front. I think you're going to see guys right around in the back. Some people pit early, try to save their stuff, and you're going to see 1 or 2 guys probably try to string it on as long as they can. There'll probably be a caution with 10 to go. See some guys get tired, try to blast through the field. But I think the best strategy is going to be copy the 16 and hope for the best, or the 60, I should say. So that's our usual deal. If he was starting in back, I'd say we'd about lap him. Then he'd come back and win the race. But with him starting up front, I think the pace is going to be slow, and there's going to be a whole lot of riding around.
Spencer Davis, he's going to start 17th coming up next.
Spencer Davis in the 29 car in tonight's Richie Evans Memorial 100. Up next should be the race. Let's hope this rainfall dissipates. Back with more on Flow Racing after this. Starting lineup being introduced by legendary announcer for the Tour Type Modifieds at the World Series, Ben Dodge. We're going to join him for rest of this pre-race coverage as we do the lineup while the light mist sets in to New Smyrna Speedway.
Adam Scavora, prepared car, a former champion at Stafford from Vernon, Connecticut, 44 starts on the Whelen Modified Tour. It is Ronnie Williams. Row number 2 to the inside. This guy is one of the guys to watch. He was consistent and strong in the previous nights, but came up a little shy. No luck at all. From Owego, New York, the Northeast Drilling Company Musco lighting car for the pole and top 5 contender on the Whelen Modified Tour in 2022. It'll be Tyler Ripkema. Outside of him is the man that has won 4 for 4. Yes, you heard me right. 4 for 4 this season. Amazingly enough, he only has 8 points separating him and Patrick Emmerling in the chase for the title. He is a 3-time champion here in World Series competition, driver of the PD Motorsports machine, and champion of the Monaco Ford Tri-Track Series. Ladies and gentlemen, from Northampton, Pennsylvania, car number 60 for Matt Hirschman. 3 rows back to the inside will be the number 14 car. Not enough can be said about his consistency, finishing in second. L2 Auto Sports, AdvantageTruck.com. Car number 14, Won a big event on the Wheel and Modified Tour at Bristol a couple seasons back. From Orchard Park, New York, Patrick Emmerling. Alongside of Patrick Emmerling is the Steve Godfrey prepared number 92 car. This automobile is from Berlin, Massachusetts, a big winner in 2022. The Nacella Paving K&D Associates air gas car from Berlin, Mass, the very talented Anthony Nocella. Quickly now moving to the fourth row on the inside will be the number 7 North Carolina. A little bit of a car change going on here. This is Caleb Heady out of Louisville, Kentucky. He's a former champion in his own right here in the Florida racetracks and won a major short track event in open tour modified style. Car number 58 will be our next starter. No stranger to running up front and winning here at the new Smyrna Speedway. From Riverhead, Long Island, New York, the GAF Riverhead Building Supply, number 58. 2005 Wheel and Modified Tour starts. Give a nice round of applause for Eric Goodale. Moving now to the fifth row on the inside, driving car number 11X. 2 11s in the competition. This one from Bohemia, the Northeastern Office Equipment car. He's 20 years of age for Dylan Storr. Scheduled to start back in the 10th starting position. Keep your eyes on this talent. Got off to a tough start, mechanical problems in the engine, but the Montanera fuel machine was a contender last night. The 22-year-old driver from Danbury, Connecticut is a former champion. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Teddy Hodgson. Now in the 6th row on the inside. This perhaps is the biggest story of the World Series in 2023. From Newtown, Connecticut, the Jensen Racing Enterprises father and son team. The Creative Racing number 179. He's 17 years of age. They call him a bad boy. Mr. Consistency, Anthony Bello. Outside of Anthony Bello is car number 82. This is the number 82 that visited Victory Lane 1 year ago. And this, of course, is Danny Watts' race car. From Millbury Place, they called him the Nutscracker. Driving the Horton Avenue Materials car, it is Craig Lutz. Scheduled to start on the inside of the next row will be the number 71R. This is the number 71R machine, driven by Michael Rutkowski from Riverhead, New York, in the Buzz Shoe Chevrolet car. Moving now to the outside of that row, it is car number 8. He is the crew chief and setup man for a lot of the top cars in the Wheel and Modified Tour in the open shows like Woody Pitcat. He'll drive the Mike Holmes and Sons excavating machine. Father and son operation, 33 years of age, 3-time Thompson champion, a engineer by trade from Canterbury, Connecticut. Would you welcome Cam McDermott? Back in the 8th row on the inside will be car number 2G. This, of course, is part of the Bertucci Gershaw Recycling Racing Enterprises Group. He's 43 years of age. He won big events in the South and big events at Riverhead Raceway in the past. From Centereach, Long Island, New York, it is J.R. Bertuccio. Scheduled to start outside of Bertuccio will be the number 46 car. This, of course, is car number 46. That is driven by Justin Brown from Manorville, New York, in the Riverhead Building Supply sponsored race car. Quickly now, we move further back in the field to car number 56. She is the outstanding female driver who's proven herself very, very well. It is Amy Catalano from Ontario, New York, the FS Capara Catalano Motorsports car. Outside of that row, driving the number 46 machine, it'll be Justin Brown, the 20-year-old driver from Manorville, New York. Riverhead Building Supply listed among the sponsors as that as well. Quickly now, we move to the 10th row to the inside, driving car number 45. This will be the 45 car for Brett Meservey from Brewster, Massachusetts, the PMG 137 gas sponsored car for the 21-year-old driver who competes and is a former champion in the Pro 4 Modified division. Our next starter in the field will be car number 29. He's the other famous driver from Dawsonville, sitting behind the wheel of car number 29. For tonight's presentation, it is Spencer Davis, the 24-year-old driver of the Coke Racing Enterprises product race car. Next, we go to car number 25. This will be the number 25 race car, and he is a former 2020 New Hampshire State champion, an MRS Series champion as well, driving the Maurice Enterprises RHR Construction Bauscher Acoustics car, owned by Kaylee Eastman. Ladies and gentlemen, he won 6 titles in 3 years. It is Brian Roby. Scheduled to start outside of Brian Roby will be the number 54. Third car for this team. This is Tyler Catalano from Ontario in the FX Capara Catalano Motorsports car. Inside of the next row, it'll be car number 20. This will be the number 20 car, driven by Eddie McCarthy of Brick, New Jersey, in the McCarthy Marina sponsored car. Outside of that row, it is car number 36. You wouldn't know he's 56 years of age. He's a former drag racer with 103 Whelen Modified Tour starts. The Zapienza Racing Enterprises, number 36, from Riverhead, New York, Dave Zapienza. Car number 09 is one of the hometown stories that did quite well for themselves during the course of adjusting to the series. From Ormond Beach, Florida, the Generac Schultz Racing Fuel Cells car. He's a former champion here. It is Chris Hatton. Outside of Chris Hatton will be the number 24 machine. If it wasn't for bad luck, this gentleman wouldn't have much luck at all. He's been very strong and very consistent, but lacking some luck. The Supreme Manufacturing car, the prize of Homedale, New Jersey, car number 24 for the talented Andrew Krause. Next, we move to the number 7P car. This, of course, is car number 7P for the Parker Racing operation, and that is Rich Parker from Fork River, New Jersey, the Seacoast Accounting Flores sponsored race car. Moving now into the final starting positions, car number 11, one of 2 11s. This is Norman Newman, 37-year-old driver from Ontario, Canada, in the family Funland Auto Fusion's towing tire depot car. And the final row, which will consist of car number 02, and that, of course, is the number 02 machine for Joey Coulter, former ARCA and Truck Series driver from Miami Springs, Florida, in the Airshock Rum Runner racing car. And starting scratch, the defending series champion. He started the series driving the black number 7 New York, went to the red, white, and blue one from Howell, New Jersey. He is a former and defending World Series champion, the Baldwin Automotive FX Capara Beluit Incorporated car. He's the 08 and 2022 champion. The car today is car number 76, the traditional number for Beluit Racing. It is Jimmy Beluit. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting lineup as we turn things back over to the next voice that you'll be hearing is Ryan Stevens. Again, we appreciate you understanding. We're trying to make this as sufficient as possible for your entertainment enjoyment for this evening's presentation. We don't mean to slight anyone in any way or form, but we just want you to all to realize how important this event is to the history of modified racing.